There is a massive development inside the building that could fundamentally alter the trajectory of our defense for the upcoming season. Imagine a player who once single-handedly dismantled our offensive game plan now being the missing piece to our secondary puzzle. This isn't just speculation. Sources indicate the front office is monitoring a specific trade market that just opened up in a major way. We are talking about a transformative talent available at a bargain price. Before we dive into the details of this potential blockbuster move, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for exclusive Panthers updates. Kenny Moore, too, has officially mutually agreed with the Indianapolis Colts to seek a trade, and the timing for the Carolina Panthers could not be more perfect. This is the same cornerback who became a nightmare for our franchise not too long ago. You remember the game. It was a rare display of total dominance where he intercepted 3 passes, returning 2 of them for touchdowns himself. It was a performance that haunted our rookie quarterback and left the fans in absolute shock. Now that very same veteran defender is entering the final year of his contract and looking for a fresh start. The Colts have lost their leverage because the desire to move on is mutual, making him an incredibly attractive target for a team like ours that is looking to finalize a defensive identity. We have already seen Dan Morgan be aggressive in free agency by securing edge rushers and linebackers. But the secondary remains the final frontier. Moore represents a proven commodity in a market that is usually overpriced, but the current situation in Indianapolis has created a unique window of opportunity. He is widely considered one of the most elite slot defenders in the entire NFL, a position where we have struggled to find consistent, high-level production. The possibility of bringing him into our building is gaining traction because he fits the schematic requirements and the culture we are trying to build. But while adding a veteran like Moore seems like a logical move on paper, there are deeper layers to how this would impact our young core, and specifically how it would help our franchise quarterback recover from past ghosts. If the Panthers pull the trigger on this trade, it would signal a complete shift in how we approach the defensive backfield this season. The question is no longer just about talent, but about how quickly we can integrate a former rival into the heart of our defense to ensure we never have to suffer a performance like his against us again. The ramifications of this trade request are spreading fast across the league, and we need to look at why this specific fit is so dangerous for our opponents. Do you think Dan Morgan should pull the trigger on this trade immediately? The market for veteran cornerbacks is moving fast, and we need your voice in the comments below. Let us know if you think this veteran is the missing piece. Your engagement helps us bring more insider reports like this. Now, let us look at the second major factor. Bryce Young surely hasn't forgotten the name Kenny Moore too after that devastating afternoon against the Colts. Bringing Moore into the fold would be a poetic turn of events for the young quarterback, moving a primary tormentor to his own sideline during training camp. Beyond the psychological aspect, the technical fit is what truly excites the coaching staff in Charlotte. While the Colts utilized a traditional 4-3 scheme, Ejiro Evero runs a more complex 3-4 system that relies heavily on versatile defensive backs who can excel in zone coverage. Moore is a master of the cover 3 rotation, which is a staple of Evero's playbook. He has the rare ability to read the quarterback's eyes and break on the ball with elite closing speed, exactly what we saw when he jumped those routes against our offense last year. By securing an elite slot defender, the Panthers would finally have a solution for the middle of the field. This move would allow the team to shift focus away from using high draft picks on cornerbacks, and instead use that precious capital to further bolster the offensive line or receiving core. Internal sources suggest that the front office views Moore not just as a depth piece, but as a stabilizing force for J.C. Horn. Horn is a superstar when healthy, but he needs a reliable partner who can handle the slot while he locks down the boundary. Adding Moore would create a ripple effect throughout the secondary. It would take the pressure off Mike Jackson and allow the safety rotation more freedom to disguise coverages. The cost is the most intriguing part of this entire scenario. Because Moore is essentially a rental on the final year of his deal, the draft compensation required would likely be minimal compared to his on-field impact. We are looking at a potential late-round pick swap that could net us a Pro Bowl caliber starter. This is the kind of savvy maneuvering that defines successful general managers. Morgan has already proven he isn't afraid to shake up the roster to find the right fits. The connection between the Panthers' needs and Moore's availability is too strong to ignore. It is a strategic alignment that could turn a middle-of-the-pack defense into a top 10 unit almost overnight. The chess match is currently happening behind closed doors as teams gauge the asking price, but the Panthers are positioned perfectly to strike while the iron is hot. The broader context of this move reveals a Panthers organization that is tired of waiting for incremental growth and is now hunting for immediate veteran leadership to stabilize the locker room. When you look at the current state of the NFC South, the window for a defensive-led resurgence is wide open. By targeting a player like Kenny Moore-Tekken, GM Dan Morgan is signaling that he understands the modern NFL is won and lost in the slot. Our current depth behind J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson is dangerously thin. And with Jackson heading toward free agency after this season, the secondary is facing a looming talent vacuum. Adding Moore doesn't just fix the problem for today, it provides a blueprint for the type of veteran presence required to mentor the next wave of defensive backs we inevitably draft. The impact of Avero's scheme cannot be overstated here. He needs players with high football IQ who can transition seamlessly between man and zone responsibilities. Moore has spent years perfecting his craft in a high-volume passing league, and his transition to our Cover 3 heavy scheme would be nearly instantaneous. This isn't a project player or a developmental prospect. This is a plug-and-play starter who changes the math for opposing offensive coordinators. Think about the impact on our pass rush. If Moore can take away the quick check-down options in the slot, it gives our newly acquired edge rushers that extra half-second they need to reach the quarterback. It is all connected. The future of this defense depends on creating a cohesive unit where every level supports the other. If Morgan successfully navigates this trade, it allows the team to go into the draft with total flexibility. They won't be forced to reach for a cornerback in the early rounds out of desperation. Instead, they can truly take the best player available, further accelerating the rebuild. We are seeing a front office that is calculated and aggressive, a combination that has been missing for years. The move for Moore would be a statement that the Panthers are no longer interested in being the team that gives up easy completions over the middle. It is about reclaiming the defensive identity that once made this franchise feared. As we look toward the training camp period, having a veteran of this caliber in the building would set a new standard for the entire secondary, pushing everyone from the starters to the practice squad players to elevate their game to a championship level. Ultimately, the pursuit of Kenny Moore II represents more than just a simple roster transaction. It is a symbol of the Carolina Panthers' commitment to erasing the mistakes of the past and building a resilient future. For too long, this fan base has watched other teams capitalize on veteran availability while we stayed on the sidelines. Seeing a player who once dominated us in a Panthers jersey would be the ultimate sign that the tides are turning in Charlotte. It signifies that we are becoming a destination where top-tier talent wants to come to compete and win. The meaning of this move extends to every corner of the organization. It tells Bryce Young that the front office is dedicated to giving him a defense that can actually get the ball back in his hands. It tells the fans that the days of accepting mediocrity in the secondary are over. We are watching the construction of a defense that has the potential to be one of the most balanced and disciplined units in the league. If this trade is finalized, the Panthers will have successfully addressed their biggest weaknesses before the first whistle of the season even blows. This is how you build a winning culture, by identifying the right fits, waiting for the right moment, and striking with precision. The impact will be felt on Sundays when the opposing quarterback looks toward the slot and sees a wall instead of a window. It is time for this franchise to stop being the victim of elite performances and start being the team that delivers them. The question now rests with you, the fans who have stood by this team through the toughest stretches. Is Kenny Moore-Tekken the final piece of the puzzle that takes this defense to the elite level? Or do you believe there is a better way to spend our draft capital as we continue this rebuild? Your perspective is what drives the conversation and keeps the pulse of this team alive. Make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on, because as an insider, I can tell you that things are moving incredibly fast behind the scenes. We will be here to break every update as it happens. Keep pounding, stay loyal, and let us get ready for a defensive transformation unlike anything we have seen in years. This is the new era of Panthers football.